Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at various Bitcoin mining stocks, going over the technical analysis, and I think I'll be taking a look today at Mara, Riot. We'll take a look at BitDeer. We haven't taken a look at that one in a little bit. CleanSpark, Iron, and Wolf. Of course, there's a lot of Bitcoin mining stocks, and if you have a special request for me to take a look at one of these other mining stock assets in a future video, whether it be my weekly Bitcoin miner video or on Friday during the live stream, please comment below and I'll do my best to get over to those. So let's get over, because these are technically stocks, let's get over to fear and greed for the stock market. This has been a week ago deep into fear, and it's slowly starting to climb back up, which is a good thing. And as far as crypto, you can see crypto has been going back up from neutrality territory back up into greed. So you can see there was this downtrend of lower highs, lower lows, and then recently it started to spike up again. And we are in the extreme greed level at 84. We have not seen crypto greed here since the middle of December. Zooming further out, this does at least look to me like a possible reversal of the trend, that we were in this definite downtrend here, but instead of a lower high, we have made a higher high now. So maybe we'll see that continue. And as we take a look in the past, when greed has been spiked for longer, this was in 2020, that's when we had alt season just 4 months later. So something to keep in the back of your mind, that maybe there will be a good time for alts and mining stocks to pump sooner than later. Of course, when that happens, I describe miners as altcoins, and you'll see this in the charts. If I show you data from the last two cycles, when altcoins have been pumping, miners have been pumping. Now, I do think this chart here is a little bit dated. I wouldn't just put Ethereum in a class all by itself. I might even throw XRP or Solana or maybe even BNB in there and look for the rotation from the large caps, the very top 5, top 10 of the crypto world, and seeing that rotation go over to the other large caps, the medium caps, the small caps, so on and so forth. And another important chart to look at is just the alt season index, and you'll see here that there's been a series of higher highs, higher lows. This has been in an uptrend since, let me scroll down and show you, since September, October of 2023. So we are at a higher low. Maybe there are still some good deals out there. I talk about all things crypto on this channel, about the crypto cycles, other altcoins, even talk about the stock market, how that impacts the crypto world. So subscribe if you want to hear some of that. But let's get into the miners and let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we have this Fibonacci retracement drawn from the high to the low. Here's the 21 high, here's the 22 low. And when we take our fib off log to look at price targets, you can see that the 1618 is here at around 101, 102K. And what's important to note is that if Bitcoin starts to really break above the 1618, the next major level would be the 2618. Though there are levels around 120K in there. And one thing I think is promising right now, at least on the weekly, is that we're not just seeing wicks, Heikin-Ashi candle wicks above the 1618. We're starting to see a candle body. So within the next couple weeks, I think we'll have a good idea of whether or not this still could be a little bit of a fake out. Maybe it's that, and we see it come back down again, into the 80,000 range possibly. But if this does start to break up, then we could see some really bullish price action across the crypto world. Going over to the daily, and then we'll jump into Mara. You can see on the daily that's looking pretty good for Bitcoin as well. So let's get into our first mining stock and take a look at Marathon Holdings. And Mara, what do we got here? So we are on the daily time frame. Let's zoom out a little bit and see that Mara, it does macro-wise have these lower highs, and then from the bottom it does have these higher lows. This is all coming to a head in this wedge pattern that will complete sometime around April. You can see that data at the bottom. So sometime by April, we'll have a pretty good idea when this massive wedge is going to break, whether to the upside or downside. It's anyone's guess which way. Of course, I would be leaning to the upside. And if so, right now, Mara, recently it's been a buy around this trend line. We talked about how Mara might be a decent buy. Right now, it's trying to get past the 200-day moving average. The 100-day, you're still seeing the candle bodies close underneath it and the wicks get up to the 50. So you might see Mara, even though it's at 20 bucks right now, it might come back down to 1840. So if you're looking for a little bit of a discount, say anywhere from around, well, I'll even go to the 200, but then you're pinching pennies. But if you're looking at around the trend line at around 18 and a half bucks, all the way down to, well, anywhere lower than that, but around $16. This fib, by the way, the 0.5 fib is right at around 16 bucks. But if it does start to move back up towards the upper end of the wedge, and the 618 fib right here, this is at around $23.72, $24, and the 786 would be at about $41. Now zooming way out for Mara, as far as what we see, this is after a series of about 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles. We do have a little bit of confirmation. We have a green candle, we have a Heikin-Ashi buy signal, and you can see the candles sitting nicely above the 50-week moving average. So that's a pretty good thing. And the reason I have on Heikin-Ashi candles and buy signals is because usually Heikin-Ashi does a pretty good job at showing which way the trend's going to go. So that's positive. If we take a look for another confirming indicator, well, we can take a look at two. I won't do these for all the miners, but just for this one, you can see the stochastic is just starting to cross positively. So that could be a good thing. So we have a buy signal, we have the stochastic, and let's also take a look at what the MACD is showing us, because it's good to combine these two. The MACD, it hasn't started flipping positive yet, though I will say that even though this can get deeper red, it doesn't always mean the price has not bottomed already. So I think Mara right here, if you like Mara, I do not hate dollar cost averaging in this territory. And overall, by the way, remember how I said these act like altcoins? Look where the tops were. This was December 2017. Okay, we all know that's when Bitcoin topped around the first time. And then here in 21, we had alt season and the double peak alt season around April. And then the absolute high was around November of 21. And let's see, where did Mara top? Well, it topped, you see the date at the bottom, November of 21. Let's go back to that. Okay, it lines up. Here is probably April. There you go. So these do behave, these miners do behave a lot like other altcoins. And Mara right now, it is the best mining stock in a lot of people's eyes. Now, if you draw a trend line here and you look for a price target for Mara, you can see somewhere around 130 to 140. And we've looked at this before. Again, when we take a look at price targets, take our fib off log. I'm drawing from the high to the low. You can see the 1618, 132 is pretty close to that trend line. So I have some Mara, full disclosure. I'm not saying you have to buy it. Do your own research and think about where you are going to put your hard-earned money that you should, I recommend or suggest budgeting so you don't gamble or invest more than you can afford to lose. But if Mara, for some reason, were to get to this 130 to 160 range, I think that'd be amazing take profit area for Mara. And one last reason that I do like these mining stocks is that we can see their balance sheets. We have a competitive advantage in being able to look at their balance sheets. We took a look at Iron last time around, just going back over to Mara. This is on Market Watch, by the way. Shout out, not sponsored, but you go type in whatever stock you want, financials, balance sheet, and one of the things you can just quickly look for is the asset to liability ratio. Assets around $1 billion, total assets $2 billion, liabilities way less. So that's a really positive ratio. There's more to it than that, but at least on the surface, that's a good thing right there. All right, let's get into the next one, And let's get over to Riot. And I promise I'll do this quicker for the other ones because I don't want to talk about all these indicators for every single mining stock. That would just take up too much time. But Riot, you can see it's definitely in this descending channel, and it's getting close to challenging that channel trend line. And if it gets above, then it has the 0.5 to contend with at around 16. So right now, as far as this channel is concerned, one good thing about it is on the weekly, you see this dark blue line. That is the 200-week moving average. So it's good that Riot is getting above that line. And if we go over to, well, before I get there, with the price going up, what we also see is the 50-week moving average getting ready to cross the 100. And usually when you have that cross, that's a pretty positive thing. And of course, when the 50 crosses the 200, that's called a golden cross. By the time that happens, way down the road, maybe in April, maybe in the summer, you could see Riot really start to take off. Going over to the daily, this is also looking pretty good right here. So it does have a doji. It has been green for a while. If it did have a pullback and came down to the 20-day moving average in the low 12s or the 50-day moving average around 1184, not bad. But again, I think we're pitching pennies at this point. And if Riot is a mining stock that you really like, then I don't think this is the worst area because Riot, it does have this former all-time high at around 80 bucks. So if Riot is a stock you love, then you can say, well, as of right now, it is 83% off, give or take. I didn't draw that perfectly, but that's a perspective to have, that if you really love this stock, then it is 83% off right now. So sometimes I look at stocks and I think of them as I would a vehicle. If I was going to buy a truck, and you've probably seen that some trucks are selling for 100K right now. Would you rather buy that truck when it's at even more of a premium in an overhyped, euphoric market when that truck is 110, 120K? Or what if the market tanks and that truck that was 100K is all of a sudden worth, or is all of a sudden selling for 25K, right? That's what we have going on right now. If a $100,000 Ford F-150 was all of a sudden selling for 18K, you would buy it. I try to have the same outlook on stocks. So if you like Riot, just something to think about. All right, let's go to BitDeer. I want to take a look at one different one than last week. And for BitDeer, all right, this one, it still looks like it's hanging at the 1618. So again, from the prior high to low, we drew our fib, and it's not perfect. So let's make sure we get it perfect. Didn't quite match it up at the bottom. Want to be good here. Our fib is off log, as you can see by the space down here. And it got up to the 1618 at around 22 bucks. And you can see it's still around there. So BitDeer right now, kind of expensive. It did get underneath the 1618, but it had a nice bounce off the 50-day moving average. But now the 1618 is resistance. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weeklies, so this just has me feeling a little cautious because how extended it is from the weekly. If all of a sudden BitDeer starts to really fall down, you can see the 20-week moving average there is at around 16. What was around 16 with these? I guess the 100-day moving average would be closest, which is around its former all-time high. As well, so that'd be around 15 bucks. But we got the 20-week moving average is around 16, and we have the 50-week moving average at the 786. Well, not technically because our fib's on, or it's off log, so let's put it on log. And the 50-week, that is at about 12 bucks. So would I be buying BitDeer here? No, not after it already had this big run. But if it did come down to these levels from 15 lower to 12, we're at support here around 10, 15 to 10, then I'd be taking more of a look at it. But right now, if we were to look at some of the other indicators, like the stochastic RSI, you can see this is just recently topped out and it's coming down. So I would wait for more of a correction, and it's up to you whether, as we showed with Mara, are you going to wait for confirmation, a buy signal, the stochastic flipping positive, or are you going to wait for a fib or a moving average? So that's why I like to use these indicators, because I think they're easily replicable for all of you watching, and we can check each other's work. I'm not trying to talk over anyone's head or like I'm an expert. I'm trying to talk to you like we're doing this together. And so if I loved bit deer and I'm looking at an area to buy, I kind of like this area here around 11, or like I showed you with the 100 day. Like if I absolutely need to get bit deer, around 15 to 11 in there. I might snipe some of those prices and then later wait for confirmation before getting more. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Let's go to CleanSpark and see how is CleanSpark doing. I hope y'all are doing well today and that you had a fantastic Tuesday. All right, so CleanSpark, we're here at the daily. You can see it's challenging the 100 and the 200 as resistance right now. So there's still a little bit of a barrier here, and it has the 618. So that's a little bit of resistance. I would not be shocked, especially after 5 green days in a row, and we have a doji. Doji means undecided. If that maybe it comes back down a little, and right now it's at 11 bucks, so it's around here in the middle of that doji. I don't hate CleanSpark as far as price here. Again, this one kind of like Mara, you can see this giant wedge, and it is closer to the lower trend line of that wedge. If we go over to the weekly, what do we got? CleanSpark on the weekly, it's at the 100-week moving average. I'm pretty sure it probably shows a buy signal. Yep, shows a buy signal right now. So it has to get above the 200 and the 50. You can see the 50-week moving average, it wicked right up to it. The body got right up to the 200. So we want to see this continue in the upcoming weeks for CleanSpark, but you have confirmation right here, and that's a good thing. Confirmation for CleanSpark. And how about the stochastic? How's the stochastic looking? Just flip positive in the oversold area. So if you like CleanSpark, I like it as far as confirmation here. Now, you didn't get it at the absolute low, but that's okay. It's impossible to get every low, but as far as a dollar cost average strategy, it doesn't get much better than this. You're close to this trend line. You're at a good moving average. You have the stochastic positive, and you have a buy signal on the weekly. Now, could it wave up and come lower? Yeah, but that's got to be part of your plan to consider. Is that if you buy here, let's say it goes up and then comes back down, you should be excited to buy it down here, right? That's how you want to think about when you're looking to get discounts on some of your favorite stocks, all right? So next, let's go to, what other ones do we want to look at? We want to look at Iron, Wolf, and Cypher. Let's do that. We'll close out with those three, Iron, Wolf, and Cypher. And like I said, comment below if there's other mining stocks you'd like for me to take a look at. No buy signal, at least there on the weekly. It is leveling out. I don't hate it here because Iron has loved this trend line. Okay, it has loved this trend line. It's getting good support on the 20-week moving average. Also wicked down right to that trend line. Isn't that crazy? It's not the most beautiful trend line, but it's wicked right down to it. Let's take a look at the daily. And yeah, if you like Iron, I think this is a good level here. You don't have confirmation quite yet, but as far as dollar cost average territory, if you believe in this stock, I don't hate it at this level. I am curious to see what the stochastic is showing us on the weekly. Stochastic, it's in the bottom area, but it's not confirmed topping yet. But if you believe it's overturning, so if you believe it's going to overturn, now probably wouldn't be the worst time. You're probably not too far away from wherever the local bottom is, would be my guess. We don't have confirmation, so of course it could roll lower. You know, that can happen with anything. But I don't hate it here. What's really the challenge here with Iron is this 786. It's challenged it once, twice, but now we have this giant flag pattern forming here. So is Iron getting ready to blast off? And something to consider is, what are your price targets? Are you looking at the fibs like I was doing, the fib targets, or are you looking at market cap and considering, well, if Iron has a $2 billion market cap, maybe it can get to 10 billion and do a 4x. Maybe it can get to 20. What is your market cap target for yourself? Something for you to decide. I can't tell you what your price target take profit area should be, but if crypto is going to take off this year like it usually does every 4 years in the post-halving year, you want to make sure you have a plan right now because when it gets euphoric, it's going to be hard to think straight during that time of extreme greed and FOMO. That's when you're going to want to be taking profits. Let's go over to Wolf. And as far as Wolf, positive, it's above the moving averages. That's nice. Got rejected off the 618. Came down, had some good wick buys. Look at those wick buys, by the way. As it got to the 200-week moving averages, just getting bought up there for TeraWolf. And it's green right now. Is that a buy signal? Yes, it is. So we have some confirmation there with the buy signal. Let's take a look at the stochastic. We have confirmation there. So again, if you're someone who likes to hedge against risk, those are two good signs. We have confirmation. We have a good moving average holding up. We have a buy signal. The stochastic flipping positive. Those are three good things matching up. And the next area for Wolf to get past the 618 at around $8. The 786 is at around, I have to scroll this a little lower, is at around 17. So if this starts to really turn up and get past this 618, this could really quickly turn into a 2 or 3x in the blink of an eye. So something to think about. Let's take a look at the daily. Daily, this is, all right, it looks like this could be a possible double top here. So if it does come back down, and let's say you like Wolf here, but you're possibly looking at some discount territory, and you want to be more patient or get some at cheaper level, this $4.80 to $5 range, pretty good deep value there. All right, and let's finish up with Cypher. Let's finish up with that. And as far as Cypher mining, and guys, we're doing some of the best work that you can do right now, which is just paying attention. You pay attention and you have an advantage over most people out there. They're not paying attention while all this stuff's going on, or while the markets aren't doing euphorically great. All right, so just the fact you're paying attention once a week is giving you a competitive advantage. All right, Cypher, you can see here, got rejected twice off the 786 and came down, got some support around the 50-week moving average. There's the 200-week. Once the 50 moves above the 200, that'd be a golden cross. So could this be a time for Cypher to start to flip positive? No buy signal quite yet. If we take a look at the stochastic, see how that's doing. All right, no buy signal yet, but the stochastic is just starting to cross, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing on the weekly for Cypher. So if you like Cypher, guys, I've shown you a variety of mining stocks that I think from a dollar cost average strategy wouldn't be the worst areas to chip away at these. Of course, not financial advice. Could prices go lower? Absolutely. I don't know where the low of the low is, but as part of my dollar cost average strategy, some of these are checking those boxes where I'd say now is a good time where I might put some of my own money in. Not telling you what to do. All right, but as far as the daily, what do we got here? We have a higher low, lower high. So there's a little bit of a wedge forming in here, but this is really bouncing around between the daily moving averages. It broke underneath the 50. Here it almost came to it. Broke underneath, bounce off the 200, bounce off the 50, bounce off the 200, bounce off the 50. Now we have a doji. So is it going to continue down here? And if you want to get it at an absolute discount, you'd be looking at that 480 number. But right here, you have the weekly stochastic just about to cross, and you're at the 100-day moving average. I do not hate this level. And here, right now the price is 539. Down here it's at 44. So, is it worth waiting for a 9% discount? Maybe it is. And, maybe you put in half. If you like Cypher, and let's say you're throwing 100 at it, maybe you put in 50, and if it gets down lower, you deploy the other 50, right? That's totally up to you and what you want to do with your money. But I don't hate this. And as far as Cypher, again, it still is at 786 to contend with at around 690. Once it gets above that, the 888 is at around $10. So almost twice as high as this. And if crypto starts getting mega bullish, I would not be surprised to see this one get up there. Cypher is another miner I like. All right, that'll do it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. Take care.